So Freddie's going to help us learn and review about the frog life cycle.
Yay!
So boys and girls, let's quietly look at our paper and make sure that we remember everything that we were supposed to put on it. Okay? Raise your hand if you remember learning about this on Monday. Remember? All right, good job. So let's look here. First, a frog starts as a what? An egg mass. So make sure on your paper that you have egg mass or eggs labeled on your paper. Some of you didn't label everything on your paper, and that affected your grade. So let's look over here. What is the second stage in the frog life cycle? Steve? A tadpole. And what does the tadpole have? What does the tadpole have when it hatches out of the egg? Josue?
Gills.
It has gills, and what do those gills do? Eric? The gills help the tadpole breathe. So make sure that you label gills. I'm going to draw our little gills here. And we write gills. So make sure you did that. Check it out.
Betty doesn't have gills because she's not a tadpole anymore.
You're right, Ashley. I'm not a tadpole.
How come you're here?
So, if we go to the next stage, the third stage, what happens to a tadpole in the third stage? Pamela.
They grow legs.
They grow legs. You're right. They grow legs. And we can see the back legs here. They grow first, and then they have the front legs grow second. So make sure you have tadpole, and make sure that you label the legs. What happens to the gills when the tadpole grows legs? Brandon Adams.
It disappears?
It disappears.
Okay. So, gills disappear.
Gills disappear. Make sure that you label that.
Or not from that, because there's gonna be a frog there after.
Make sure that you label it. Then we come over here, and what is this stage? What should we have labeled this stage? It's a young frog, but what word did we learn for it? So make sure you labeled it froglet. And you labeled that it has a little tail.
Little tail.
That's what makes it a froglet. And then we go to the last stage in our frog's life. And what is that? The last stage of the frog life cycle? The adult frog. Exactly. Then it starts all around again. All right. Thank you so much, Freddie, for helping us out. So what we're going to do is we are going to write about our diagram. And we are going to use transition words to write about our diagram. What are transition words or sequencing words? Let's think about them. Sequencing or transition words.
What's sequencing word? What are those?
We're going to learn about them. If I give you a hint, you'll be able to come up with a lot of them. This is my hint. First. Now, who can think of another sequencing or transition word? Beginning. Put in the beginning. And this is for a story. So today, we're not telling a story. We're talking about what happens first. Right, so that is a good transition word, but I'm going to put a star in. What's another transition word you know?
Second.
not say third. We usually would say first, second. Let's think of some other word that we use when we sequence stories, when we put things in order.
Then?
Then? Next.
The last one. Finally.
Finally.
After.
6 words like that. And I'm going to add one. After.
This side.
So we are going to write about our frog life cycle. What transition word would we use for this one?
What do you have first?
First.
Or beginning? Or in the beginning.
But remember, in the beginning is for a story usually. And we are talking about a life cycle. What would we use for this one? Does anyone have a different one? A different idea? But it didn't happen third. Choose from our list. Choose from our list. So there are different ones you can use. Let's start writing together. We're going to start the paper together, and then you're going to finish it on your own, using transition words to tell me when these things happen in the frog's life cycle. Remember that the first thing, so put everything down, pencils down, eyes here. You'll have time to work on it on your own in a few minutes after we do it together. So remember to put your name and the date on the paper. And what else should you put on your paper?
Your number.
Your number. Right? That way I can file it easily. Your portfolio.
And your title.
And put your title. And what does my title start with? What kind of letter does my title start with? A capital letter. We want to make sure that we use capital letters. And then what do we put underneath our title? We put a line. What do we call that? What do we call that?
Underline.
Underline. We underline our title. And I want us to have a topic sentence. So let's think. What could we think of? Remember, a topic sentence introduces a topic. What could we have as our topic sentence?
That's an interesting frog.
That's an interesting frog. I like that. I love that word.
Right from our interest.
Remember, yes, we've used it before. What else could we say? I like the word interesting. Can anyone build on her idea?
This is the frog's life cycle.
I like that one. This is a frog's life cycle. How can we use the word interesting in that? How can we do that? How can we use the idea, this is a frog's life cycle, and add the word interesting? How can we do that?
The frog life cycle is interesting.
I love it. We combine the ideas and we get a beautiful sentence. Remember to indent. What is the sentence?
Indent.
You indent the first paragraph and tell me the sentence. A
Frog statement. What is the name? It is 11:30.
Take another way.
It is 11:30.
A frog's life cycle is interesting.
We made it all together.
You did. You had a group team effort.
She's still recording us. Yeah. Cheers. Fernando.
Who can think of the next sentence we could use in our paragraph? Look at our chart, or look at the chart that you have. What could we say?
First, a frog is born. A dog. A dog. A dog.
Go ahead.
First, a frog is in an egg.
First, a frog is in an egg.
What is the beginning?
And we'll write first, comma. So we have a little pause there when we read it.
Bless you. Bless you. First, a frog
And the second sentence then, how would we start transition and use?
Then it changes into a tadpole.
Then it changes into a tadpole. I mean, I love that. When we think of a different word as synonym for changes, instead of changes, what does it do?
Bird grow. Hatch.
Hatch.
Or we could say birth.
We wouldn't use the word birthed out of an egg. We use the word hatched. Hatched. Oh, burst. It bursts out of an egg. That's a good vocabulary word. It was a vocabulary word a couple weeks ago, but I'm going to stick with hatched. And what is our transition word? What transition word can we use? Let's use next. Next, comma. Hatches. I heard a detail about the tadpole.
The tadpole has gills.
The tadpole has gills too.
To breathe. Really sounds right with that? The tadpole has gills to breathe. A has gills to breathe. Like we breathe in the water.
Now, this is what I want you to do. I'm going to pass out paper, and you're going to copy what we have so far, and then you are going to write the rest on your own, independently. I'll come around and help you in case you get stuck. I'll come around to help you in case you get stuck, but I want you to think about your transition words and all stages. Some of you only had 4 stages for your frog's life cycle. Make sure that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure these are all on your paper. If they're not, add them so that when you write your paragraph, it is complete. Remember that you can add details. Okay, we had next a tadpole hatches from the egg, and we describe a little bit about the tadpole. So you can add more details before you get on to the next stage of the frog's life. This is a checklist of what I expect you to have in your paper. You must have a topic sentence, which we did come up with together. At least 5 detailed sentences. At least 5. More than 5 would be great, but at least 5. Hold your question. Use your transition words. We wrote them down. Use the words we brainstormed. Capitalization at the beginning of your sentences. Periods at the end of your sentences. Make sure before you turn in your paper, check to make sure everything is on your paper. You can copy. Can you copy this part?
Yeah.
Can you copy this? You don't need to copy it. It's going to be posted there.
Wow.
So table leaders, come up and quietly get your papers for your table. Are there any questions?
No.
Raising our hands for questions.
Can we make our own topics and stuff?
Your own topic sentence? If you have one that you would like to use, yes, you may. But make sure you do have a topic sentence to introduce the topic. You can copy this at the beginning of your paper, yes?
Your name too?
Yes.
You said we were going to talk about the grades.
We did talk, you're right. The
You're up
grades,
there.
if you didn't have all of these, this is important for everyone. If you didn't have all of this written that we have here, then you could not have gotten a 4. So I'll look at it again. But if you're missing something, or if you didn't do your best, neatest work, if your picture was not colored in detail, you were not going to get a 4. But I will look at it if you have a question. Yes? Yes, you should have. If you have a question for me, you can ask me as I come around. So you should all have your paper now. I need you to get started silently. I am looking for tables that are working silently. Yes. So get started on your writing. Did you lose your pencil?
This is very nice writing. Do you need the name and the date so I know who's making it? Yes, you can write it in. Don't float it in the sky, put it in the line. Okay?
You can, unless you have another idea. Which you may copy. Make sure that you have the title. Walking. Yeah, that's where you put it, just like one. You may copy what we started together, and then you need to finish it on your own. At least 5 sentences. But if you use more than 5 sentences, you'll have more details. More details are always better. Who finished their work that would like to share with the rest of us? Who finished their work that would like to share with the rest of us? Brandon C., would you like to come up? So give them your attention.
A frog's life cycle. A frog's life cycle is interesting. First, a frog is in an egg. Next, a tadpole hatches from the egg. The tadpole has gills to breathe. An adult frog eats flies with his long tongue. Adult frog jumps to the lily pad with their long legs. When they're tadpoles, they eat little plants. When it's a young frog, it starts to grow. When they're adults, they grow more and more frogs, and it goes all over again. If the tadpole does not have gills, it dies.
Stars and wishes.
Ferdinand. My star is the Fernando. My star was like this lovely. Okay.
My star is that he spoke on the TV and he spoke with pastor.
My stars are that you spoke loudly and clearly. My stars that you used eye contact. My wish is that I had heard a few more transition words, because what I heard was that you weren't following the order of the life cycle. So I think if you edit your paper and change the order of some of your sentences, then it will be